They say every town hides a secret, but Black Hollow doesn't hide it. It waits. At exactly 12:47 a.m., the air in Black Hollow becomes heavy, as if something ancient has opened its eyes, because that's the hour when the cursed sword wakes up. A sword that doesn't just kill, it decapitates. The legend of the blade. 400 years ago, a forbidden occultist named Malachi Zohar lived on the edge of Black Hollow. He wasn't human anymore. He was something else. Using blood rituals, demon sigils, and whispered spells stolen from the dead, he forged a blade, not from steel alone, but from human souls. The sword was named Nox Decapitare, the Blade of Severance. The rule was simple. Every full moon, the blade must taste a human head. If it didn't, the sword would choose its own victim. The first recorded decapitation. 20 years ago, a night shift mechanic named Daniel Cross was walking home through Old Mill Road. Security cameras caught everything. At 12:47 a.m., every streetlight shut off simultaneously. Then, a floating black sword appeared. No hands, no body, just the sound of metal screaming. Daniel tried to run. His legs froze. A voice echoed from the blade itself. "Your head will feed me." One swift movement. Slice. The next morning, Daniel's body was found standing upright. No blood trail, no struggle, just a clean cut. His head was later discovered on the church altar, eyes wide open, mouth frozen in terror. The town's curse. After that night, people vanished on full moons. Heads appeared on rooftops. Children dreamed of a floating sword calling their names. Police shut down investigations. Priests refused to enter Black Hollow. One priest left behind a final warning written in blood. The blade serves its bloodline. The arrival of the heir. That's when Ethan Zohar arrived. A quiet antique dealer. Cold eyes. No past records. The moment he entered Black Hollow, the sword reacted. Buried beneath an abandoned slaughterhouse, Nox Decapitare began to shake. Chains snapped, symbols burned on the floor. The blade rose into the air and whispered, "Master, your blood has returned." Ethan stared at the sword, and for the first time, he smiled. Part 2. The Sword Demands Blood. Ethan Zohar thought he was alone in the slaughterhouse. He wasn't. The moment his fingers touched the hilt of Nox Decapitare, the blade burned red, as if waking from centuries of sleep. Chains shattered, dust whiffed into the air, and then the sword spoke. "You are not my owner. You are my heir." Ethan staggered backward. Memories flooded his mind, visions he had never lived. Decapitated bodies, full moons, screaming towns, and one man standing above them all. Malachi Zohar. The bloodline truth. Ethan fell to his knees. The sword hovered inches from his face. "Your blood created me. Your blood must feed me." Suddenly, Ethan remembered something his mother once told him before she died. "If you ever hear metal whispering your name, run." But it was too late. Symbols ignited across Ethan's arms, ancient runes carved into his skin from the inside. The sword was bonding with him, claiming him. The new rule. Nox Decapitare made its demand clear. No longer one head per full moon. Now, 3 heads every full moon. If Ethan refused, the blade would slaughter random victims, men, women, children. Ethan screamed, "I won't do it!" The sword responded by showing him the future. A vision of mass decapitation. Ethan saw Black Hollow drenched in blood, bodies without heads hanging from streetlights, heads stacked like trophies, the blade flying freely, unstoppable. Choose your sacrifices, or I will. Ethan realized the truth. The sword wasn't evil. It was hungry. The first modern-day kill on camera. That same night, a group of teenagers broke into the abandoned slaughterhouse, live-streaming on their phones, laughing, mocking the town's legends, until the temperature dropped. Their live chat exploded. "Bro, what's that behind you? Is this fake?" The sword emerged from the shadows, floating, dripping. One boy tried to run. The blade moved faster than sound. Slash! His head hit the concrete while the stream was still live. The video cut off. By morning, the footage had gone viral. Title everywhere. "Real decapitation caught live?" Ethan watched the video in horror. The sword whispered, "One." Ethan's descent. Ethan locked himself inside his house, boarded the windows, prayed. But prayer didn't stop the blade. It appeared in front of him again. 2 more. Ethan realized something terrifying. The sword didn't just want heads, it wanted his obedience. And slowly, his resistance was breaking. The full moon rose higher over Black Hollow. Its pale light crawled through Ethan Zohar's window like a living thing. Ethan hadn't slept for 3 days. His eyes were red, his hands wouldn't stop shaking, and in the corner of the room, Nox Decapitare hovered silently, watching him, waiting. The choice. 2 more, the blade whispered. Choose or suffer. Ethan covered his ears. "I won't kill innocent people," he cried. The sword answered by showing him another vision. This time, a school bus, a crowded diner, a playground, heads rolling, screams tearing the night apart. Your mercy will become their death. Ethan collapsed to the floor. That's when he understood the cruel truth. If someone had to die, it would be his choice who lived. The marked ones. The sword burned 3 names into Ethan's mind. People with dark pasts, people who had killed before, criminals who escaped justice. The blade didn't want innocence, it wanted balance. Or at least, that's what it convinced Ethan to believe. The ritual begins. At exactly 12:47 a.m., Ethan stood inside the abandoned church. Candles lit themselves. Blood symbols appeared on the floor. The sword floated above the altar, spinning slowly. Kneel. Ethan obeyed. The first victim was dragged forward by invisible hands, a man who had murdered his own family years ago. He screamed, begged. The sword didn't hesitate. Slice. The head fell into a stone bowl. The moonlight turned deep red. The blade vibrated violently. 1 more. The second decapitation. The second victim tried to run. The church doors slammed shut, windows shattered inward. The sword shot forward like lightning. Chop! The body dropped. But this time, something went wrong. The headless body stood back up. Blood poured upward instead of down. The corpse turned toward Ethan and spoke without a mouth. It's not finished. Ethan screamed. Possession. The sword slammed itself into Ethan's chest, not physically, spiritually. Ethan felt something crawl inside his mind, ancient, cold, hungry. His reflection in the church mirror smiled, even though he didn't. You are mine now, the blade echoed inside him. The final head of the night. The third victim never arrived because the sword had made a decision. The last head will be yours. Ethan gasped. "No, I did what you asked." The sword laughed, a metallic, demonic sound. "Every master must pay." The blade rose. The church shook violently. At the final second, Ethan grabbed the blade with both hands. His blood poured onto it. The runes exploded with light. The sword stopped, paused, and then whispered, "Not today." The blade vanished, leaving Ethan alone, bleeding, broken. Aftermath. By morning, 3 headless bodies were discovered across Black Hollow. News channels called it a serial killer, but one thing terrified everyone. All 3 heads were missing, and written in blood on the church wall were the words, "The ritual has begun." Ethan stared at his trembling hands. He knew the truth now. He wasn't controlling the curse. He was becoming it. Part 4. The town turns red. In the background, emergency sirens fading into whispers, slow piano notes. Black Hollow woke up screaming. 3 headless bodies, no signs of struggle, no weapons, and one name whispered everywhere. Ethan Zohar. The hunt begins. Police surrounded Ethan's house before sunrise. Neighbors watched from behind curtains. Some prayed, some recorded videos. Ethan stood in the bathroom, staring at the mirror. His eyes weren't fully his anymore. When he blinked, for a split second, he saw Malachi Zohar's face staring back. "They will never understand you," the voice inside him whispered. Ethan dropped to his knees. "I'm trying to stop it," the voice laughed. "You are not trying. You are becoming." The child. That night, the sword returned, not floating, not glowing, but emerging from Ethan's shadow. The next full moon is the final one. Ethan's heart stopped. "What do you want now?" The sword was silent for a long moment. Then, a pure head. Ethan froze. "No." The sword showed him an image. A little girl, 8 years old. Name, Lily Carter. The entire town loved her. "Her death will seal me forever." Ethan screamed, "I won't do it!" The sword answered calmly, "Then I will take everyone." Signs of the end. As the final full moon approached, animals were born without heads, church bells rang by themselves, children sleepwalked, whispering Ethan's name, shadows moved against the light. One video went viral. A security camera showed the sword hovering above Lily's house, not entering, just waiting. The mob. Fear turned into rage. The town gathered with torches and guns. They surrounded Ethan in the old cemetery. "You brought this curse. You're a demon." Ethan stood among the graves. Rain poured down. Lightning split the sky. "Sacrifice him!" A bullet was fired. Ethan fell, but didn't die. The sword emerged from his body, stopping the bullet mid-air. It turned toward the crowd, and for the first time, it spoke to everyone. "You fed me with hate. Now I will feed on you." Mass decapitation. The sword moved, faster than sight. Heads fell. Not one, not 2, but dozens. Clean cuts, bodies collapsing like empty clothes. Blood rained. People ran, screaming. Ethan cried, but he didn't stop it. He couldn't. The sword was no longer asking. Ethan's last choice. Amid the chaos, Ethan saw Lily, frozen in fear, alive, untouched. The sword hovered above her. "End this," it whispered to Ethan. Ethan walked forward, each step heavy. He looked at the child. then up at the full moon. For the first time, he understood what had to be done. Part 5. The Last Head. The full moon hung directly above Black Hollow. Perfect. Unblinking. Waiting. Ethan Zohar stood between the sword and the child. Lily Carter trembled, unable to scream. The blade hovered inches from her head. "End it," the sword whispered. "One cut, and eternity is mine." Ethan's hand shook. This was the final choice. The true origin. Suddenly, the world froze. Time itself cracked open. Ethan was pulled into a vision. A moment before the sword was ever forged, he saw Malachi Zohar screaming as demons tore his soul apart. The truth was finally revealed. The sword wasn't feeding on heads. It was feeding on successors. Every heir who obeyed strengthened it. Every sacrifice chained humanity further. And now it needed Ethan to complete the cycle. The real sacrifice. Ethan understood. The sword didn't need Lily. It needed him. He stepped forward, placed his own neck beneath the blade. Lily cried out, "No, please!" Ethan smiled at her. "Close your eyes." The sword went silent, confused. "This is not the agreement." Ethan whispered, "You said every master must pay." The final betrayal. The blade trembled violently. "Without you, I will die." Ethan answered calmly, "Good." With every ounce of will left in him, Ethan grabbed the blade and turned it inward, not against his neck, against his soul. He spoke the ancient words Malachi once used to forge it, but reversed. The runes shattered. The moon went dark. The sword screamed, not in rage, in fear. Silence. A flash of blinding light. Then, nothing. No sword, no curse, no Ethan. Lily was found alone in the cemetery at dawn, alive, unharmed. The town believed it was over. They were wrong. Epilogue. 1 year later. A construction crew began rebuilding the old church. Beneath the altar, they found something buried deep underground. Not a sword, but a handle, still warm, still whispering. A worker leaned closer. The metal softly spoke. "Every curse waits for a new hand." The screen cuts to black. The end.